UFC 324, Gaethje versus Pimblett. The predictions went pretty well. Went 9 out of 11 on my picks. Went 157th place on Tapology against around 10,000 people. So pretty well on that end. But the locks, value, and bets weren't the best. Let's recap them. Starting off with my locks, I went 3 out of 5. Rose Namajunas versus Natalia Silva going to the decision. Minus 400 was the lock of locks. Honestly, should have bet that more. Should have profited off that more. Gaethje versus Pimblett inside the distance, minus 340. That was a pretty good bet. Gaethje, he just really didn't have the power to knock out the Scouser in Paddy Pimblett. Paddy Pimblett really showed his toughness, really showed his chin. Even though it's all up in the air, it is really hard to knock him out. Next up, we had John Silva, minus 245 on the money line. That was a pretty good lock. I think that John Silva, he never really was looking like he was going to lose that fight. In the first round, he did have some slip-ups, but in the second and third, he really picked it up, really used him as a skateboard, jumped off of him at the end of the fight, secured his win. Gaethje by KO, minus 550. He really should have just knocked him out in the first round. He didn't go for any ground and pound, knocked Poliev down multiple times, didn't get the KO. Honestly, minus 550, it was a bit chalky, but he was just knocking out everybody in the first round. So maybe hindsight is a bad bet, but Gaethje, he was really just knocking out everybody. He did drop him multiple times. And last up, we got Nurmagomedov, minus 3.5. I'm at minus 400. That was just a pretty safe bet. Even though people are saying that Umar didn't really look that good, he really did just dominate him. I think he was just backing up the whole time, didn't really want to engage. And when he did, he got taken down or just kicked up. Umar had a unanimous 30-27 in this matchup, so it was a pretty easy 3 out of 5. I feel like is a bit rough. I feel like I should have maybe went 4 out of 5 in this, but maybe going a little bit too much on the locks. Next up, we got our value. Gaethje coming at plus 195, saying that was value. Honestly, it really was. I think that Paddy Pimblett, he really showed no striking, had a crazy chin, has crazy toughness, but Paddy Pimblett, he isn't the grappler that people thought he was. Gaethje was able to stuff the takedowns, get takedowns of his own, drop Paddy Pimblett multiple times, so plus 195, easy money. I had him winning 49-46, and at plus 195, that's great odds. Next up, we had Umar at minus 7.5, coming at minus 160. That was just a free bet, honestly. 30-27 win, unanimous. He was in no danger. I thought that he was a pretty good value just because it would cover if he finished him. If anybody was finishing that fight, it was Umar. Minus 160. Pretty great odds just because you can solo it. Next up, we had Rose Namajunas, moneyline and decision. This did end up losing, but honestly, in my eyes, I thought that Rose should have won this matchup. So at plus 280 in a really close matchup, great odds, really good value. And at plus 450 at the decision odds for Rose, great odds. I thought that it should have hit. I did bet it. Can't win them all. It was a close fight. Maybe not quite a robbery, but I thought that Rose should have got that win. And next up, we had Gaethje round 1 KO coming at minus 105. And you know what? He did drop him in the first round. He hurt him pretty bad. It easily could have hit. Sucks that it didn't hit, but it was definitely live. Maybe not the best value just because he didn't even end up finding the knockout at all, but Gaethje, he did drop him, just didn't go for the ground and pound. Maybe next time. Let's get into the bets. We had Silva, Namajunas, decision, minus 400, parlayed with Gaethje, Pimblett, inside the distance at minus 340. Put 30 bucks on that. It was at minus 164 parlayed, and you know what? Ended up losing because Paddy Pimblett just got that chin on him. I think that fight honestly had a lot of moments to end inside the distance. So hindsight, I think that it's still an alright bet. It's just a tough loss in my opinion. Next up, we had Silva, minus 245, parlayed with Gaethje, KO, minus 550. It came out at minus 152. We put 30 on that, and you know what? It's a tough one because Gaethje, he should have knocked him out. Should have KO'd him the first. Should have KO'd him in the second. Should have KO'd him in the third. He dropped him multiple times. He hurt him bad multiple times. He just never ended up going for that ground and pound finish. He is pretty calm and collected in that aspect. It was definitely a tough loss because there was multiple times that he could have got that KO. Next up, we had Umar at minus 7.5 coming at minus 160. We put 20 on that, and we ended up profiting $12.50 off of that. It was pretty good odds. Minus 160. It was a free bet. He was never in any danger. So overall, in this section, we went from 80 to 32.50. Minus 47.50 in this section, honestly, is a bit rough because I could have seen this going 3 for 3, but it ended up going 1 for 3. Tough that the biggest bets did end up losing, but on to the next. Next up, we had Bukauskas, Krylov, under 2.5, minus 390, parlayed with Costa versus Lewis inside the distance at minus 245. That parlayed was minus 132. $10 on that. It ended up losing because the Bukauskas Krylov didn't go under 2.5. It sucks that it ended up going inside the distance though. Initially, I had that inside the distance, but it was just a little bit too chalky in my opinion. I'm pretty sure he was like minus 500, 600, something like that. So it was a bit unbettable, but even parlayed inside the distance with Lewis, it would have been under minus 200. So should have taken that. Krylov ended up knocking him out in the last like 30 seconds, maybe even less. Tough loss. I think the under 2.5 wasn't that likely of hitting, so maybe not the best. The Lewis Acosta was called to a pinpoint. I had Acosta by second round KO, ended up being exactly right. Lewis ended up giving up. He slipped, then just took a bunch of blows. Called it quits for the night. Looked like his balls weren't hot enough. Next up, we had O'Malley by decision coming at plus 100. We put 5 on that, ended up profiting 5. It was a pretty good bet. O'Malley, I think that he honestly probably should have lost this fight. It was similar to the Rose fight where it was a close fight, but I had Song winning the first and second. I think that it was pretty lucky to hit because I had Song winning, but we'll definitely take that $5 profit. Next up, we had Rose Namajunas by decision coming at plus 450. This one was just a tough one. I'd rather have the O'Malley one lose and the Rose Namajunas one hit because plus 450 is way better odds. $5 on that would have paid $22.50 profit, but it ended up losing. In my opinion, I thought I should have hit. I thought Rose took the first and second. Namajunas with the takedowns and Silva really just not doing anything until the third round. Should have had her win the fight, but it was a close fight. Can't win them all, but I'd much rather have the O'Malley one lose and Rose Namajunas one hit. But it is what it is. We went 1 out of 3 on this section of bets. Went from 20 to 10, so minus 10. Pretty rough because we lost money on both sections. Just to overview, 100 to 1,000. We started off with 100 last week. We bet 100. We made 6 bets, won 2 of them, lost 4 of them. The graphics are a bit wrong. We ended up remaining with 42.50. Ended up losing 57.50. I thought we got a little bit unlucky with some of the bets, but you know what? We got to do better, and next time we'll definitely do better. Overall, in the 100 to 1,000 series, we had 2 events. We made 15 total bets, won 5 of them, lost 10 of them. Total bet was 200, and overall our profit is coming in at minus 61.15. This series is a work in progress. I'm not the best bettor, but you know what? We'll get better each week. UFC 325, there should be some pretty good betting opportunities, so stay tuned for that video. If you like this video, give it a like. If you thought some of the bets were pretty bad or you had similar bets, leave a comment down below. Subscribe for more, and thanks for watching.